Good morning, guys. How are you? Just a quick 5-10 minutes here on the way to the lab. I'm just going to talk briefly about setting up communities. You know, we've got some great communities with the flat Earth researchers, with people that are covering other areas about health, feeding yourself, and building things. Free energy. You know, just when I woke up this morning, just being with my children, just makes you realize that how life can pass by you very quickly. And in the meantime, you're being fed a lot of bullshit about the past. You know, just over the last couple of months, so much information has come out about our past. I can only speak to what I know about, and it's really happened with my industry. If you look back, you know, 400, 500, 600 years to 1,000 years ago with Genghis Khan, hemp and cannabis was very much a part of our life, feeding our livestock. And now, it's really just interesting how my country, you know, if you go back, I have a lot of memories being a sculptor and a stonemason. We have this place in Australia called Flinders Station. It's in Melbourne, Australia. And, you know, the people that were teaching me stonemasonry 25, 30 years ago, probably even longer, were explaining to me, and of course I was asking them, some of the buildings in Melbourne, who the heck built them? Because of the way they were carved and placed. It would have been very hard still to this day to do it. And if anyone hasn't seen the Flinders Station, just Google it. It's very easy. Flinders Station, it's in Melbourne. It's in the city of Melbourne. And then go back to the trams. See, the trams and all that was in place before even the settlers came from England. It's really interesting. And the quandary I have is, I can't wait to go back to my country, because there's got to be Aboriginals that have passed down information about this. And I remember one story in New South Wales where a man lost his dog. And it was a blue heeler. He lost it. He went for a walk in the woods. Anyway, a couple of hours later, he come across this, and you can find this. Well, not walking his dog, looking for his bloody dog. What am I saying? And on the means of looking for his dog, he came across this big sculpture in the forest. And it was made out of a composition of we call it coral. It's like a limestone, but it's coral. And it's fairly soft. It's about another 3.5. Egyptian. I kid you not. It's got Egyptian writing all over it. And it's got universal symbols on it too, like with the circle with the cross. Anyway, it's got all this stuff. Anyway, this bloody thing just goes into an embankment. It's beautiful. And it just goes straight into a hillside. It looks like a door, but the door goes straight into a cliff. Anyway, so the word had got out, and some of the academic world came into this. Of course, you know what they did. They said it was graffiti. And I've got to pull this up. I will show some photos of this. Yeah, they said it was graffiti. They said somebody had come there and carved all those things and aged it, made it look really old, because to have that sort of stone, to have that much aging on it, it's pretty hard to do in a short period of time that they were saying. They were saying it was graffiti. Who the heck would spend that amount of time taking the stone up there and do all that carving and work for the sake of graffiti? Anyway, getting to the story, the Aboriginals. Aboriginals, if you go to the old folk, because they don't write much down, they said there were people here that did it and collected the gold. So the only two, and plus uranium, which is not really radioactive, it doesn't kill you. It's just a more of efficient explosive material, that's all it is. So that's another lie about the atom bomb. So anyway, getting to the lies and about my country, Australia. So we've been settled by prisoners. Isn't this amazing? Now look at this. This is really, really interesting. How they got Australia to where it is today. I mean, it's a bloody lie. The whole bloody place is a lie. And who are the people that sent the so-called prisoners to Australia? If we do our research, guys, we're going to nail these bastards. I mean, look at the development of Melbourne in the early days. I mean, it's a beautiful city. Then you go to a place like Adelaide, the city of churches. So for you folks that are listening to this, just do your research, please. Look, there are still so many beautiful buildings in my country, Australia. Go and have a look. Do your own research. And what I've been finding out here where I am at the moment, in Washington, close to Portland, is I've been going around to the old buildings here. And there's one thing I've been finding that's repeating itself. And that is they have no plans of the building, of the construction, blueprints. They don't have any photos of the construction. They have photos of it being renovated, but they do not have any photos of it being constructed. What the fuck is that all about? And if you look at the places, before we even put up any buildings, the infrastructure is in place. Who built this infrastructure? Who built our train system in Melbourne? Can you tell me that? Who built it? It's really interesting. I think Australia, you know, in Australia, you just have to do your research. Look, we've been bloody lied to. And I think Australia's a great place because it's a fairly recent country by white men being shipped there. But if we do our research together, we can start peeling the onion about this big lie and start now resetting and understanding, yes, we're being lied to, and let's build a community of like-minded. And that's where I want to go to, about building a community of like-minded people. You know, I have a 10-acre hobby farm. I'd love to open up my hobby farm to the people and grow food. I have so much area to grow food. So for everybody around the world that's doing their diligence and research, I think there's another thing we need to take care of, and that is to sustain our life. And I got to speak the truth here, you know, because people like Antonia, Super Arts, you got the Owen Benjamin, you have Dan, all the other researchers out there. There's many of you guys, but we just need to come together as a community, regardless of like and dislike of personalities. We really have to come together, guys, because I'm telling you, what's coming down in the next few years, it's going to be another great excuse for a reset. And the reason I'm saying this is because you're too fucking smart. We're too fucking smart. We've worked them out, and they know this. And I think they're catching on that we're working them out. Just my children alone. are seeing something very different to the children that are brought up in the ways of the world. It's like the veil's been removed. All the schools and education are putting a veil, overlaying. So getting back, so where we live, gravity is bullshit. There's buoyancy.